I lived in a house. I was married. I lived in a house with my family. And then we lost the house and we moved into a motel. And I used to go home and in wintertime I used to look in people's houses with their at night. And I used to think, oh, I wished we had a house. Or I wished I could give my children a house. And everybody looked so comfortable, when they were in there watching TV in their living rooms. And when we lived in one room. It was just one room, that was all, with 3 beds. And then a little kitchenette and a bathroom. That was it. And yeah, it was difficult because it seemed like a never-ending thing. We were never getting out of there. And there were mice in there, and there were drugs outside, and sometimes drunks would come and knock on our door, and I would be scared to answer it. It was just not a good place to be with a family.
When we lost our house, we moved into a motel in the West End. And it was hard to go to school. When your friends say, I want to come over, you have to lie to them. Ask you for your phone number, you can't really give it to them because you're so embarrassed. Sometimes we couldn't even go to school, it was so hard. I had to quit school, actually. The first 2 months of grade 9, I had to quit. And look after my mom.
When we lived in our own home, it felt like we belonged there, like this was our house, and we were secure. I think the kids were secure there, and I felt secure there. But we lost that house, and so now we're of no fixed address. And that's scary. My daughters kind of became out of control, and there was drugs in the motel.
Sometimes when friends would come pick you up, we'd say, pick us up, drop us off on the side of the road, or pick us up on the side of the road, and it was horrible. Lots of drugs around everywhere you look. Drugs and liquor, and it was hard because living in a motel, parents can't really discipline you because you're like, oh, whatever. And we got in trouble lots, and just the people around you, it's not good for kids growing up, especially when they're young, because all our friends were older than us, sometimes 30 years old, and we'd be 16 hanging out with people like that. It wasn't the environment that we should have grew up in.
It was really hard on, especially my youngest. She missed so much school that first year because I think she was scared. She lost one parent, and then since I'm disabled, I think she was frightened of losing me, and she didn't know where she stood. And so she would be sick she'd go to school and she'd be sick to her stomach, and then she'd come home crying, and it was hard to watch her go through this for me, and it was really hard on her too. You can only stay at the shelter for 3 weeks, but since I'm disabled, they couldn't find a place for me because there aren't enough disabled units. You just wait and wait and wait. But since I was on that list, and right at the top, we got a unit in 6 weeks. But if I wouldn't have taken that unit, then we would have been shipped down to the downtown shelter. Well, me and 3 girls, and I didn't want to go. That was too dangerous to go downtown with 3 girls. So I did take that unit.
When we first moved in there, all of us girls, we were outside playing in our backyard one day, and about 15 kids came up to us and were like, join our gang. We laughed at them and we're like, no. They spit in our face. They threw cans at us. They carried knives. Every time we left our house, we were worried about if we were going to get beat up or jumped. There's drugs everywhere. Anything you would want that has to do with crime, you could get in low-income housing. It's so easy. One time we were babysitting a friend's kid. He comes up and he has a needle in his hand, a dirty needle that was just laying there. And we were like, drop that right now. Like, there's so many kids running around too, and it's like dirty needles around. Kids shouldn't be growing up in an atmosphere like that. It's way too much crime.
I always tell my kids to rise above it. Lift your head up high and just, and even if you live in the area, you don't have to act like you're that way. so, so I hope that they've done that, and I think they have done that. Keep your head up high.
What has helped me is looking at my mom. She's the strongest person, I think. She's disabled, has 4 children, and she did her best for us girls, and she's my hero. If it wasn't for my mom, I don't know where us kids would be. It's really sad. We grew up in nice houses and had a nice neighborhood, and then my mama got sick and everything went downhill. Living in motel to motel, scared, wondering if my mom was gonna leave us girls or what, but she stuck by us 100%, and she's my hero. If it wasn't for her, I don't know where I'd be.